Okay, hi everyone and welcome to my free masterclass, Make 2021 your most profitable year yet. Welcome everybody, we're going to start now. Maybe just we're going to wait 1 or 2 minutes because I see that a few more people are still joining in. Please confirm that you can hear me. Let me know where you're joining in from. You can hear me. Okay, great. Thank you. Loud and clear. Thanks very much, Emma. Thanks, Monica. Okay, let's start. Before we start and crack on with the learning content, with the workshop, I'm just going to start with a very short housekeeping. The masterclass will be about 45 to 60 minutes, it depends. I usually put quite a bit of content in my classes and try to keep it shorter and leave time for the questions. I have not done this particular content yet, so we'll see. However, whether it is 45 minutes or 60 minutes, I'm going to stay and answer all the questions. So please do use the Q&A function for questions. I much prefer this because I will try monitor the chat, but it's sometimes a little bit distracting and I cannot find all the questions. So the best idea is if you can use the Q&A function. For all those registered and obviously those attending the webinar, the recording will be provided. However, I would really advise you that you turn off all the distractions and concentrate on the content. I tend to talk a little bit quickly, but just don't worry about it. And if you do have any questions, let me know and I will answer them, like I said at the beginning. My content is very practical, and this is how I usually really make a lot of effort and try for my content to be very practical so that everybody can use it. You know, you can go away with it, make notes, use it in your business. I do encourage you that you straight away put together a short action plan or list, jot down a list of actions that you and learnings that you have found in this masterclass, and how you're going to implement them in your business, and how are you going to apply it in your business. As a note, not everything that I talk about means that you have to apply it, or you have to apply it and implement in your business. It also can mean basically that you will have someone in your team who will do it for you. Right, so why this masterclass? First of all, I'm not really sure if you've ever heard about the action, the idea, the movement called the Leave No Business Behind. And this is something that was created by Kpis, a company that basically a lending that provides lending solutions for businesses. And that company did recently, in the current climate, current circumstances, a bit of a research, and it realized that about 70% of businesses at the time, it was few months ago, I believe it was in July, have decided to obviously take advantage of the governmental help that we received during the crisis, which came in multiple ways, either through a very cost-effective loan or, for example, deferred tax schemes, right? So about 70% of businesses decided to take up the government on these benefits. However, according to the research, probably only 34% will be able to repay that, or repay either the deferred taxes or the loan within the next months, or within obviously the time period. I know that now the times have been obviously they're a bit longer and they've been extended. However, still there is this a little bit of a risk that some of the businesses who took advantage of these benefits will not be able to repay them on time. Because of this, Kpis came up with an idea of the Leave No Business Behind movement, and they tried to encourage accountants, FDs, people basically in finance, to input to create some initiatives for financial literacy. And while I was one of them, I took the pledge, as they called it. I took the pledge, and I decided also to create a series of masterclasses for business owners with the goal to to teach them a bit about financial literacy. My previous masterclasses concentrated a lot about cash flow and how to manage cash flow. This masterclass is much more concentrated on the topic of profitability and growth and business growth, and what we can do to encourage profitability or increase profitability and business growth next year. So that's another reason of why it's a good idea to attend this masterclass. Basically, if you decide to grow your business, there is always a lot of new challenges and questions that come up for a business owner. At the beginning, very often when we set up a business, we are what is called a technician. And I'm not really sure if you ever read the book E-Myth, E-Myth Revisited. I really encourage you that you do. It's a brilliant book for any business owner out there, and particularly in a service-based industry or an agency, marketing or creative agency. Even similarly for the type of business that I do, right? Because I'm an accountant and a financial controller from background, and obviously now I want to provide this service to other business owners. It's very important that when you are in charge, when you are an owner, when you are in charge, you come out of this idea and the mindset of being the technician, so a person who is all the time performing, the work and does the delivery for the clients, because that's not the only thing that we need to do. We need to also make sure that we manage the business, so we look at the big picture for the business. And with that often come up a lot of new questions, cash flow issues, because as we grow, very often we do have issues with cash flow. We have to look at things like profitability, how much to charge, what's our pricing structure, what can we do, and how can we make a decision to employ a new team member, and so on. Basically, as we grow, things get a little bit more complicated. And what I would like to do here is just show you some financial practices that will make things for you a bit more less stressful, and show you practices that will simplify things for you, because that's another one that I think simplicity is a key when it comes to financial, and particularly when I speak to the business owners. So this masterclass is for business owners specifically, and I try as much as I can use very little accounting jargon, and I try to show it to you from a perspective as a business owner, not necessarily finance director or an accountant, but basically concentrate on what's important for you. Now, obviously, what I would like with this masterclass to achieve is that we simplify certain things for you. You obviously gain knowledge on how to implement certain processes, do things quicker, more efficiently, so that you will have more energy that you can spend then after, serving your clients and focusing on your business and growing your business and taking it forward. So this masterclass is for people who want to grow their business. Like I said, agency, it's specifically for agency owners or service-based businesses. And having said, when I say that, one of the things that we are not discussing in this masterclass is any issues related to a product. It's just basically not the topic covered in this masterclass. If you want to generate consistent cash flow, if you want to get some financial peace of mind, as we call it, and make sure that you, instead of worrying about your financial situation and what's going to happen, you've got a bit more, you've got less stress, peace of mind, and like I said earlier, that space to concentrate on clients and what's really important for your business. And obviously, you don't want to spend too many hours sorting out your financials. For those who don't know me, my name is Agi. I help agency owners and service-based businesses build more profitable and efficient business so that they can enjoy more time off. My background is as a financial controller, accountant, financial controller. I used to work before in Europe, in the UK, Germany, but also I spent a few years in the Middle East. And I run a company called CFO for Growth. We are a virtual finance director, virtual finance department providers, where we work with business owners to help them drive revenue, cash flow, and also maximize their profits. As I said at the beginning, I'm going to send the presentation and the slides for you, so you will have all my details for LinkedIn, for example, my website and so on, my email address, so that you can stay in touch with me. So without further ado, what we're going to cover today in this masterclass. We're going to talk about how to get insight into our numbers, and how to review our numbers, and what to do with that, with what we found during our review, and how can we utilize that data to grow our business and to make it more profitable. We're going to look at the ways that we can impact profitability of our business. We're going to look at how we can get a handle on our finances in 30 minutes a week. So like I said, spend as little time as possible, but in an efficient way, so that you can review and monitor your finances regularly. And then I'll be talking about the key pillars of financial management that I encourage every business owner to have implemented in their business as they grow their business. All that is encapsulated in a 4-step process. It's a framework that I put together just to make things easier for you. You will see that as we go through the content in this masterclass, it will be connected with this 4-step process, where we, like I said, we review our financials. We then make decisions what's important for us and what are the ways we can grow for both the top line, so our income, and also our profit. We look at optimization. So this is, like I mentioned, a few more ways that we can actually impact the performance of our business, and what we should focus on. What are the key numbers that we should be focusing in our business, and then monitoring. So having a system in place to make sure that once we put together the plan, and we know what we want to focus on, that we obviously are on the way there. And just in case something is not working out as we would like to, then how we can amend, how we can adjust. Right. So first of all, we mentioned reviewing performance of our business. And like I said, this is a very crucial topic, because without knowing where we've been in our business and how our business has been performing historically, so in the recent 2-3 years, depending where you are, depending on the access to the data that you have, it's very important to look back. So we look back in order to then work our way forward, right? I will show you an example in a moment, but it's really important also when we're reviewing our financial data that it's accurate. So first of all, that you've got access to this data and that data is up to date. It's another thing that we'll be discussing in a little bit more detail in this masterclass, so that you can collect your data and you have it to hand. And it's not only necessarily just the financial data, but you will see all the other ways we can impact profit. And also I would like to encourage you that you track your sales data as well. So for example, conversion and so on. So it's not necessarily strictly financial numbers or financial data, okay? This is where it's important. Where bookkeeping is really important, so that again, that it's accurate, that's always up to date, that you can go on Xero or QuickBooks or whichever software you use. You can just log in and see your current financial position today, or at least as at the end of the last week. So we want to understand what happened in our business, and there's for that, we want to review the P&L line by line, but only in a high level way. So I don't want you to get bogged down in really a lot of details. That's why in the example I'll be showing you, I will provide you with an example where you only do like a high level analysis of your data, so that you can identify opportunities to improve your performance. And again, not only performance for your business, the top line, right? So the revenue, but also your profitability. So this is a very simple example. And again, with Xero, you can always adjust the way you look at your data, because you can perform the overview and analysis of your profit and loss in a really great detail, line by line, looking even at things like, you know, stationery and post and travel costs and so on, or you can do a high level review. And in this case, I'm going to encourage you to do a high level review. So just put together the simplified P&L, as I call it. However, the key here is that you don't only look at the just the number, like for example, a revenue of 200,000 or a cost of sale of 82,000, but we also calculate a percentage. Okay, so how much of, so for example, cost of sale in our example, cost of sale in 2019 was 41% of our revenue. So for each type of cost, for example, payroll, sales and marketing, other expenses, and so on, we need to calculate and we need to see how much of the revenue that cost actually takes, right? So in our example, we've got the data for 2019 and 2020 performance. Okay, so and then obviously we want to create 2021 projections or our budget or our targets, right? If you can see the bottom line, which is the EBITDA, it's not necessary. With the EBITDA is basically, it's about profit, but before any financial adjustments. So just so you know, this is the profit for the business. Okay, so this is probably the more detailed explanation of that probably requires another masterclass. And please, again, if this is something you don't understand, let me know and I'll answer at the end. However, just for the sake of this example, this is our bottom line profit. So as you can see, from 2019 to 2020, we've got a very decent growth. Okay, so this is an example of a business who actually performed well during the crisis, because I know that not all of us have been so fortunate this year. However, there have been businesses there who've actually been doing very well. So we can see here that year on year, 2019, 2020, we've got 40% revenue growth. So from 200,000, we grew to 280,000. In terms of our profitability, we did extremely well because our profitability actually tripled or more than that, right? So we see that there are certain things in our business that we actually did very well when we compare 2020 to 2019. Now going forward, we obviously would like to repeat these results, and we would like to look at certain ways of how we can do that. Now, like I said, that we want to review these numbers not only as just a plain number, but also on a percentage basis, right? So in 2020, we have managed to achieve a gross profit of 61%. Gross profit is a very important metric for any agency and also a service-based business, because that's the metric and the amount that we receive after we have deducted any chargeable wages, okay, and freelancers. I know that there are sometimes businesses that don't really do this calculation that way, but it's actually the proper way of looking at it. So you take your fee income and then deduct any chargeable wages and freelancers, and this is your gross profit. Okay, so this is an extremely important metric for an agency. In the case of 2020, we managed to achieve 61% of gross profit, right? So when we're setting up goals for 2021, instead of maybe thinking about like how much in revenue I can achieve, or how much, what the expenditure will be, have a look at the percentage and see if maybe you can improve here a little bit more. So in the example that we've got here, we decided that we're going to target our gross profit to 65%, okay, of the revenue. Similarly, I looked at other lines, cost lines for payroll or for sales and marketing, right? So for example, sales and marketing last year or this current year, I spent just over 20%. But I'm thinking maybe this is too much. This is actually a lot to spend on sales and marketing. So is there a way that maybe for me, I will decrease that cost next year, and instead of 20%, I'm going to target 17%. Okay, so basically the targets are set in the percentages, not necessarily the the full number. So we set the percentage first, and only then from that, the number is worked out. There is another, so in the example, what's really important to notice is that we decided that we're going to grow the revenue as well by another 20%, right? And this is absolutely fine. However, do look at the bottom line profitability. So we've also increased the profitability. We doubled the profitability year on year from 2020 to 2021. And we did it in two ways, by increasing revenue, but also by reducing some of the costs. Okay, and when you look at it, it's not necessary that we reduced it on a monetary basis, right? But we reduced it as a percentage basis because we decided to target ourselves. I hope this is clear. And again, just let me know if you've got an example, if you've got any questions with regards to that. I'm going to move on, and I will show you also another example of how we can target our profitability from a little bit different point of view, looking at the profitability drivers. When we're looking at our performance, what's another thing that is really important is the profitability by client or by project. And again, if you are an agency, this is an extremely important area because unfortunately it will always be the case that some of our clients will be the ones that produce majority of our profit, and other clients will either, the profit will be lower, we might break even, or even we've been working with them at a loss. And yes, it does happen. Obviously it happens, and especially if you grow a lot and you grow quickly, it's very difficult to sometimes keep track of how much, what the cost to service was for each client. But that's another thing that I would really encourage you to look at and to review. If you're thinking about growing your business next year, it's not only about making sure that you double the amount of clients because you want to double the revenue. There's other ways to actually tackle that, and it is possible to increase revenue, but without, even double the revenue, but not necessarily doubling the amount of clients that you have to work with. Right, so now I'm going to discuss quickly the 9 ways you can impact your business. And when you're creating a plan, like I said, don't only concentrate on turnover, because this is always a default to what we go to. And even the same, when we create the plan for next year, the first thing I want to look at is, how many leads I can get and how many of them I will convert and how many of them will become my new clients, right? But this is not the whole story. So it's really important, first of all, is to find another way to increase revenue. But the second of all, it's also looking at the ways we can increase profitability, because you can increase revenue, however, still your profitability might not be where you would like it to be. So you might double the revenue, but not double the profitability of your business, okay? And now just very briefly, again, about the topic of profitability, why it is important. It often also depends on where you want to go with your business, because yes, if you decide to grow the business in a very, very, very quickly and scale up very quickly, very often you will sacrifice some of the profitability because you will decide to invest in your business more. Nothing wrong with that. This is absolutely fine. The only thing is that you monitor it and you know exactly at any point in time where you are, and you do it in a way that is, it's your conscious decision, and it's not just because you're leaking costs. You just don't have control over your financial situation. Profitability is not only about the fact that your business, to survive, has to be profitable. Like I said, it's fuel for growth. So the more profitable you are, the more money you'll be able to then reinvest in your business to grow. And you can grow your business organically. You keep full control of your business. You don't have a situation where you might ask for or request because you require additional equity, or maybe because you basically go for loans, because that's another way, obviously, to get capital into your business. Now, in the most simple weight, when you look at the profit is sales minus costs. Okay, this is a really simple profit equation. Everybody knows it. However, when we look at it, we can expand it a little bit. So we can look at what sales is in a little bit more detail, and what actually, what sales is made up of, and the same costs. Okay, there is different type of costs that we've got in our business. So first of all, sales really is the amount of clients that you have times how much they spend and how many transactions that's per transaction, and then how many transactions do they actually have with you, right? So for example, if someone is paying you 12 installments, you could say that it's 12 transactions per year. And with costs, we've got costs that are variable and costs that are fixed. Variable costs will be costs that will move with your revenue. So if your revenue grows, your variable cost will grow, will obviously increase as well. So if your revenue increases, your costs will also increase. And the fixed costs that, usually they will stay more or less, they will stay exactly the same. Whether you are a small, bit smaller or bigger business, or sort of whether your sales is increasing on nothing or decreasing. Okay, so these are the costs that you always have to cover. Like, if you've got office, it would be rent or insurance, things like that. Now, we can break this down even further and look at even more elements that will impact your profitability. And the reason why I'm talking to you about this is that when you are planning for next year and you're doing, your planning process, budgeting process, and so on, it's really important to take into consideration all these ways you can impact profit. And I will show you an example in a moment. Then choose the ones that you decide to focus on next year. So you've got the list here. I broke down the types of ways of how you can increase the profitability into like sort of 3 buckets. The first one is your sales process and the conversions you're achieving, where we can impact the results by increasing the number of leads, increasing the how well you convert these leads into clients, and also increasing your customer retention rate. So are you able to make sure that the clients you currently have will sign with you another agreement next year or the year after next, and so on. Then we've got sales volume and pricing. So this is where we can average spend or average spend per client, increase the average spend per client, where we can increase the frequency, okay, how many times the client will purchase from us. And also that there's here, it's an aspect of pricing. So pricing to maximize profit. What can we do to increase our prices? This is another topic that I was talking a lot on my previous masterclasses, because it's a really, really important driver to increase your profitability. Also, very often it's quite a sensitive topic of conversation, and particularly in this current climate. And then final basket would be cost-based drivers. So this is where you can impact your variable costs, your cost of sale, for example. So like I said, the cost of a freelancer, cost of chargeable wages, or other merchant costs. It depends on the type of the business. Then we've got fixed costs, and then any systems and efficiencies that we can implement in our business that might then result in increased profitability. Okay, and another example here is basically I've chosen a few of these drivers that I mentioned before, and I calculated the impact that they can have on my business. Okay, so I actually used similar numbers from the previous example, but I just wanted to demonstrate on how changes or small changes in each of these drivers, or the drivers I've chosen. So in this example, I have chosen 4 drivers that I have changed. I've increased the performance a little bit, increased it obviously for a better, which then in turn gave me more than double profitability. Okay, but these are small increases in a few drivers that I have chosen, and in this example decided to concentrate on. And obviously because of this, I managed to increase the cash in the business. So as you can see here, I increased my conversion rate. So I have the same number of leads coming into the business, but I increased the conversion rate. I increased the number of transactions per client. So for example, on average, in this example, clients would pay 9 times a year. This is just an example. These clients 10 times a year. Okay, so just by one, you can look at it as if someone paid for 9 months, and this client is signed 10 months contract, for example. I changed the average price per transaction, and what I've also done is I decreased the variable costs, or in other way, increase the gross profit. So I used to achieve 61% gross profit, but I've increased the profit by 4%, achieving 65% of profit. And as you will notice in this example here, the number of clients that we have in a year actually decreased slightly overall. But still, I managed to achieve much better profitability because I concentrated on different drivers, and I impacted them in a way where where profitability worked out for so much better, increased so much better. This is the sort of example that you can look both ways. That's why these 2 arrows, okay? If you would be interested, for example, in the spreadsheet to work it out, just let me know and I'll provide it for you. This is not a problem. Because sometimes what is also a good idea when you're putting together a plan for next year is to actually start with the bottom line. So with profit, what is the profit that you would like to achieve, and start your targeting from there, because you can work it out from bottom up. So for example, I decided next year I want to achieve 50,000 pounds profitability. I know my fixed costs, I know my variable costs from historical data, so on a percentage basis, how much I achieve. I can add that on to the profit and then work out the revenue. So see, for example, in this example, okay, so this means that I have to achieve, in order to be able to make 50,000 profit, I need to achieve 340,000 pounds revenue in a year. And in order to achieve that revenue, I need to have that average price, price per transaction, that many transactions from each client, that many clients, and so on and so on. This gives me, because I know that I am achieving 20% conversion rate, it means that I need to generate 150 leads, and so on. So like I said, so this is the sort of process where you can either work your way down or work your way up. And I would really recommend that you try the other way of doing it, because then, in the end, as a business owner, you really do care about the bottom line and how much you can actually, how much profit your business can generate. And you can make that your goal and work your way up from there. Now, moving on and to another aspect of this, and why I wanted to discuss it, is that a really, really important part of actually making your business profitable and growing your business is the fact that you actually monitor your finances. And I know that for us and most of us, it's a very difficult topic, emotional topic, or a very boring topic, and we just simply are not interested at looking at spreadsheets and numbers and so on. And I wanted to show you here a few ideas and certain process that I've been using or been looking at, and I came up with. And sometimes also when I work with my clients, this is what I take them through and make this as easy as possible for them, and also encourage them to create a discipline and habits that they do look at the financials on a weekly basis, monthly basis, and so on, which also will depend on the situation on the financial situation, of your business and your individual situation. But first of all, to be able to really get a handle on your finances, there's a few prerequisites that you need to have in place. First one would be your team, right? So you have to surround yourself with the right people, and I'll discuss it a little bit from the finance point of view. It does not always have to be from the finance point of view, because obviously within the company you will have people with different roles, project managers and so on, who can help you a lot with managing the business and also the managing the financial side of it. But the next one, which is really, really important now, is the tech. And I'm talking about this because recently we've had so many new apps and tools coming out that that make things so easy for you, and also make things, you know, just simply nice and easy to look at, because you don't have to look at spreadsheets anymore. The apps, you know, create everything in dashboards and charts, and you can have it literally, you know, on your phone and monitor it very easy. Then I'll be talking briefly about having a dashboard. Now, the thing with the dashboard is that it's not about, you know, having something that is beautifully designed and so on. It's just about having, you know, choosing a certain key numbers that you want to concentrate, and you know that these are the numbers that you need to monitor weekly. These are the numbers you need to look at monthly. Because they are important for your business, and you know that either this is where your business maybe is lacking, or you know that these are the KPIs or numbers that will drive your business forward. And then the discipline. So again, scheduling time to making sure that you do go through your finances. Okay, now to start is the team. It's like I said, and this is an example that I put together of the finance team that you should have in your business, or can have in your business. It really depends on your circumstances, but just so you know, you are aware of different types of items and functions that have to be actually done in terms of your finances. This is in terms of your finances, and what actually the pyramid here is, and what's, you know, from the bottom level to the top level. And you might be surprised that actually at the top level I put in a CEO or owner of the managing director, so basically you, because ultimately it doesn't matter the area of the business, you will have the ultimate responsibility. And even if this is a finance function and your business is growing, still you will have the ultimate responsibility over your finances. And the bottom, you will see the bookkeeper, right? So this is someone that every business will require, because every business will have the data processing, transactions, reconciliations that have to be done. And it will either be you, because very often I know that business owners, obviously they will DIY and just do it. They just do all the bookkeeping themselves, or they decide to outsource it to another bookkeeper. And another layer here is the accountant, right? Because we need to make sure the moment we, whether we operate as a sole trader or the moment we register company as a limited, we've got certain, assessments, tax returns, annual accounts returns, things like that, that we do have to provide for the government. So it's a legal requirement, we have to do it. And very often we are not specialists as business owners, this is not what you specialize in. So you would have an accountant or a tax accountant to do this for you. And so this is your legal requirement, right? Anything above that accountant layer is not anymore a legal requirement. This is then, depending on you and how you want to manage your business, and if you want to grow your business, because I'm sure you can appreciate that as you grow your business, you really need much more detailed focus on your financials. And first of all, you need to have the financials reported on a monthly basis. Like I said here, a manager accountant will do the monthly reporting for you. But then what you would want to also look at is the forward thinking. So any reporting, any tools that will help you in planning the future of your business. And from there, I'm going to move on to another aspect that is, like I mentioned, is the tech stack, because this is where you can have very, very good reporting, very good forecasting, and other tools that will really help you gain the financial visibility, financial insight, and help you with the future planning and putting together your goals, putting together your cash flow to make sure that you never run out of money, and also do it in a way that is just very easy for you to understand. These are just a few examples of apps that are out there. There is so many more that will really help you in running your business also in a way that is just very efficient. Okay, because I still know that there are businesses that do manual data input, but honestly, it's just with the way that technology has moved forward, it's really simply a waste of time. So again, this is a way for you to just for a slide for you to consider all the things that you would like to have in your business, and then maybe that if there is any easier way to get there, okay, in a way that it will be very efficient for you and will help you create that discipline and look at your financials much more often. Now, with that, what's really important is that you choose what the key numbers are, right? And I mentioned already the drivers that you can, with which you can impact profitability, the 9 drivers that can become your KPIs. But really in the business, there are many more KPIs. There is, hundreds of them to choose. And if you choose KPIs, so the key performance indicators, your key numbers, what you choose will really depend on the type of the business you're running, on your business objectives, on your, what do you want to do going forward, even on your personal goals, right? Because I mean, in the end, our business and the way the money that we make in our business, our ultimate goal is very rarely about the business. It's very often about, what we want to then achieve and create in our personal lives. And this is, again, that's another aspect of the planning process, so that you do define your objectives and the ways you want to grow your business, whether it is top line, whether it is decreasing costs and or other ways to increase profitability. You do that during the planning process. You decide on how you want to do it, and then you link any KPIs to track it, right? So just one figure, that to track your progress. And I will show you a few more in a moment. So again, with dashboards I recommend having a dashboard because it's a very, again, quick way for you to look at your financial results. But it's not only about you, it's also about your team. So very often I would work with someone to actually have a dashboard that will be accessible by the team members depending on their role. The reason for that is really important as a company to have that profit culture and get your team involved in really explain to them what it means for them if your business is making more money and is more profitable, and get their buy-in. Another thing with the dashboard is that it lets you concentrate only on what we call the one thing. I'm sure you read the book. It's a very important concept. And dashboard or the KPIs in your dashboard, if you choose just the very few, the most important ones, can become your economic drivers. And this is what we call it in accounting world, something that is critical, basically, that is critical for your business success. Okay. These are just examples of what you could include in your dashboard. Again, it will depend on your goals, the type of business, the type of issues or opportunities you have in your business. And what I would like to point out is that they don't often have to be, financial KPIs. We do have here on the slide growth KPIs, profitability KPIs that I mentioned, liquidity KPIs, which obviously means if you can. The example here, we have the cash conversion. So is your business liquid? Are you converting the cash quickly enough to be able to pay for any obligations that you have, right? But we also have other KPIs. So for example, marketing sales KPIs, like I mentioned earlier, right? Your leads, your conversions, or your operational KPIs. If you're running an agency or a service-based business, that's another set of KPIs that are really critically important. So your revenue, for example, you can monitor revenue per employee, or you can monitor your staff utilization rates. That's another aspect to definitely have a look at. I know that as a business owner, you will run your business from a bank account, as we call it. So you probably will log into your bank and check your bank account often. But having a current bank account, balance, it does not always tell us the whole story about the business. In most cases, it doesn't. That's why I recommend having a 90 days cash flow forecast on your business, on your dashboard, not necessarily the full forecast because you don't have to, but just sort of, look at the ways of putting together on in your dashboard the balance that you're going to have in your bank account, or predicted balance in 60 days or 90 days. And another thing is, for example, if you suffer a lot from debtors issues, so companies not paying you, that's something. If this is something that you choose to monitor very closely, then also have a look at it. Have that on your dashboard and monitor that on a weekly basis or monthly basis, because again, it's just something that's critical for your business. So, like I said, so to be able to get the handle also on your finances and really monitor it in a quick and efficient way, and the regular way, because that's really the key, that you do it consistently, regularly. I put together a few ideas of what you could monitor on a weekly or monthly basis. And again, if you've got all these things that I mentioned before in place, if you've got someone helping you out with the financials, because again, as a business owner, when you're growing, it's really tough. You should really not be doing your own bookkeeping. If you've got someone helping you out, you should be able to have access to this information literally at the click of a button. Okay, so you should be able to see your leads, your conversions, your sales. So what's coming to your business, right? So this is if someone's maintaining your CRM. Like I mentioned, the 13 weeks cash flow forecast. And not only just looking at the bank balance or your debtors. So these are the things that you can have, you should really have available, that you can monitor on a weekly basis. Then you've got things that you look at monthly. So obviously your accounts, right? So you want to just see the results of your management accounts, of your management information, and discuss it with your team, because it's really, I mentioned as well before, that you do want to get your team involved into the performance of the company. And then looking at the actions for next year. So diarizing some time for, on a monthly basis to create a set of action for you and your team for next month, for next quarter, and updating your forecast, or rather having the forecast updated, again, having someone do it for you. And on an annual basis, that's probably when you would spend more time, because you do want to spend time to map out the next 1 to 2, 3 years of your business, to map out your goals, map out your forecast, and obviously also having the compliance work done. So making sure that all the legal stuff, the annual accounts, corporation tax, and so on, that's sorted as well. Right. So we are almost at the end now. And the last point that I wanted to talk about is the key pillars of financial management. You will receive that information here. It's all on the slide. This is something that I mentioned in my previous masterclass, and these are really, really critical pillars for our business, and again, particularly if you want to grow. Okay, so I'm sure you know about cash flow and forecast strategy, but these are not the only ones that we have to have implemented in the business going forward, because we also have control. So implementing internal control. This is where we're thinking, this is control, this is risk management, okay? And also another aspect of control is the processes, the systems, can we have any efficiencies implemented? Because we want to drive performance, okay? So this is our tech stack or for finances, but not only, also, for example, a new project management tool, because it will speed up certain processes in our company. So that's another pillar that it's really important. We've got budgeting as well. This is now time to create a budget. You can also call it a financial plan. I know people really don't like the budget word, and because of what's happening this year, a lot of people try to now really get away from budgeting. Having said that, it's really still, it's crucial that you spend time and you plan and see how you want next year to look like, and what you really want to achieve, what the targets you want to set for your team, and so on. That would be in the budgeting process. And then as we go during the year, we do have the forecasting process, which is the dynamic process. So every month we change it. It might sound like a little bit of work, but again, with the right tools, right team behind, it really does not have to be extremely complicated process or complex process, because again, you can look at it on a just a high level as a high level analysis, and again, you can just look at it in a way that you will only pay attention to certain, basically to the KPIs as I discussed. This is it from me. I really hope it was useful, and this is something that it's something that can help you, and something that you can utilize in your business as you putting together a strategy and a plan going forward for next year. It might be a very tricky year. And I know that many of us will have targets, and obviously I have put together also a list of targets that I want to hit next year. It might go both ways. I hope with the vaccination that the outlook will be much more positive. However, if in case you do have any questions and you would like to schedule a call with me, like I said, absolutely I can answer all questions, and by all means I'll be very happy to spend 40 minutes answering your question and discussing maybe and helping you what are the best things, depending on where you are in your business, that you should be concentrating on in next year, in the coming months and next year. Right, let me now check if there's any questions. There are a few questions. What was the book I recommended? That was E-Myth Revisited. Apologies for my accent. I believe Michael Gerber is the author. E-Myth Revisited. Can I only use 3 KPIs in my agency? Right. If as in, can you only choose 3 KPIs for your agency? Now, 3 KPIs is probably not. I did say that to simplify the process. 3 KPIs is probably a bit small amount, and the reason for that is I probably would choose at least a minimum of 5, because I would look at the main financial KPIs, which would be gross profit and net profit at least. Depending on the situation also in your business, maybe a KPI that would measure your cash flow to make sure that your cash flow situation is strong. And then, like I said as well, that have a look at non-financial KPIs, right? So the KPIs the leading KPIs, the ones that you will be monitoring going forward. So, for example, leads, the number of leads you're generating, or how you're converting, or for example, again, depending on your business, it could be a customer sales success, a customer feedback KPI. So maybe 3 is that's a very small number, again, depending when you are in your business, but if you extend it to 5, 6, I think that would be more than enough to then concentrate on next year. What's a good profit margin for my agency? The good profit, this is an interesting question. It's very good questions. I very often get asked what that would be. It really depends on the revenue, but I would say, so if your revenue, for example, is below 250,000 pounds, you should be even achieving 30% of net profit. Okay, and that's both the very bottom line. And this is doable. There are many businesses, many agencies that actually do it, even though it might, for many people, might sound high. As your business grows and your turnover increases, the percentage will slightly decrease, but I would definitely aim at above 10%. 20% is a very good result. What's the top logo? I assume you mean with the tech stack. That's Futurely. So this is Futurely. Futurely is a software that helps you forecast. This is software for long-term forecasting. Okay, this is a very important distinction because I know that many business owners would, for example, use float that is below here, that it's much more what I call operational forecasting or just short-term forecasting. So maybe 90 minutes, sorry, excuse me, 90 days. Some of the software would do the cash flow forecast up to a year. However, this is just the cash flow forecast. With Futurely, you can do forecasting, which we call three-way forecasting, when you forecast your profit and loss, your balance sheet, and your cash flow, the statement of cash flow. And that's used very often in business planning. And also it's a must for a high growth business. If you're growing quickly or you're planning to grow quickly, three-way forecasting is the way to go, and it's really important. And this is what the software does. An alternative to this one is Spotlight. Maybe you've heard of that. It's also very good software. Okay. I think these are all the questions. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you being here. Please let me know if you've got any questions. Like I said, I encourage you that you book a call with me. And also do let me know your feedback and what you thought about this masterclass, okay? Otherwise, I really hope you're keeping safe. I wanted to say also have a wonderful Christmas. This is my last masterclass of 2020, so have a wonderful Christmas and all the best. Many happy New Years. Many happy returns in the new year.